Hello viewers, we are going to share our vision with you on the Indian economic situation as well as UK's, England's economic situation in the changed political socio-economic scenario. In Indian economy, we are ruled under the BJP of Modi government, while in England we see that new Indian version PM-Rishi Sunak has come into power and he has been nominated, not elected, as a PM of UK. Here, UK situation is where Liz Truss, who has resigned because her philosophy, her economic vision is around moving economic growth while curtailing the taxes and lowering the interest rate. In the midst of higher inflation, higher unemployment level, while Rishi Sunak has come with the economic vision because of his because of his financial background, that investors, not only domestic but foreign investors, should invest their money in England, where the UK economy is suffering. And according to Rishi Sunak visions, it is investors who will push up economic development and will drag out England's economy from economic crisis in the midst of global recession. Although UK economic situation is not facing recession, it is going through a higher hole of or deep hole of 50 billion pound. And in the midst of this, Liz has invented his economic vision by curtailing interest rate and curtailing taxes so that consumers' confidence should shoot up, consumption should increase, and it will incentivize for investment. Why? Rishi Sunak, the present PM of England, has envisioned that interest rate will increase, tax rate will increase, government spending will be curtailed, and out of it, the consumer's confidence will be shaken, the consumer's level of standard will be lowered. This is the situation. When we compare it with the Indian economy, we will see that Indian economy is also facing higher level of inflation, higher level of unemployment, lost consumers' confidence, lost business confidence, lost investors and manufacturers' confidence because of consumers' confidence has been shaken. In this situation, the Modi government is not doing justification for or in the interest of vast rural consumers who are facing a huge inflation in the midst of higher level of unemployment, higher level of income inequality, higher level of poverty. But in this situation, I would like to say that by putting my book that has been published by me earlier, that wherever politics goes above to economics, the economic situation of a nation becomes not better, but go towards the worst situation. While where economic situation or economic leaders goes forward, at the cost of political leaders. Certainly, economic development, economic prosperity, and consumers' confidence increases for providing or for paving the way for better employment, better income, and better cost of living. In this situation, I would like to say this book has presented before we people that if any economic leader moves upward or forward at the cost of political leaders, it is beneficial in the interest of nation. As we have seen in the context of India, where Dr. Manmohan Singh, which has become as an economist to lead the nation as a Prime Minister of India, and the economic situation of Indian economy has become the better, and GDP growth rate has gone above to or around to 9%, while at present GDP growth rate in Indian economy is always declining because there is a lesser level of consumption in vast rural areas where 95% unorganized sector are not included in the GDP calculation, where consumers play an important role in the formation of GDP, where 60% of consumption is calculated in GDP of consumers. But in the context of UK, we will see that their per capita income has remained around $45,000, while in Indian context, when we compare it, then it remains around $2,100 per capita. There is a great difference between Indian per capita income and UK's per capita income. But within these contexts, Indian government is saying that we have thrown or pushed back England in the matter of GDP. By pushing England, India has come forward on the 4th position and claiming that very soon it will be at a 3rd position. But in the midst of, at the cost of consumers, it can be possible. At the cost of inflation, it can be possible. Because in Indian context, only corporate level growth rate is calculated only on a quarterly basis, while GDP growth rate on yearly basis on the whole consumers' expenditure and consumers' level of standard are minus. Here we see this is the situation in Indian context. While India is claiming that it has pushed down England from 5th position and India has come on the 4th position. But so far as per capita income is concerned, it is the higher and it is the lower, not higher. It is the lower and the lowest in comparison to UK economies. But at present, we are going to say before the global community that Rishi Sunak, the present PM of UK or England, is doing in the interest of investors because he is or his background is always from the financial investors side. But at the cost of growth, economic growth, because his earlier Prime Minister of England, Liz Truss, has emphasized for economic growth, GDP growth rate, taxation cut, interest rate cut, so that relief should be given to our consumers or vast consumers, and their cost of living should be increased. But in the context of India, there is a great difference between consumers' confidence level and its level of consumption. In this context, we would like to suggest that if Rishi Sunak, claimed as a Hindu, PM of British or England, then he should pay attention not towards the present BJP government that is also claiming that it is following the Hindutva philosophy of economic vision. And that's why the GDP growth rate of Indian economy is lowering consequently. And on the other hand, the interest rate of RBI and monetary policy has increased interest rate higher in the midst of higher inflation, in the midst of unemployment, but at the cost of consumers, because consumers are facing huge inflation or galloping inflation pinch. They are feeling not worst in the midst of higher level of income inequality, poverty, malnutrition. These are the things because Indian government is not paying attention towards these things, because Indian government is paying higher and higher attention towards the corporate level of growth, while above than 95 and 96% of Indian economy are left under unorganized sector, where the calculation there, income and spending calculation are not put into the GDP calculation. This is the problem. In this context, we would like to suggest that Rishi Sunak should adopt not only the Hindu economic vision as Indian government is telling, because Britain's socio-political economic situation is rather different, because Britain's economy is a multicultural, because Britain culture is, Britain constitution is always known as a mother of global constitution, and Indian constitution also has been within the, or by keeping British constitution in eyes. These are the things. So Rishi Sunak should always think in terms of Nehruvian philosophy. Nehruvian philosophy has presented after independence from British colony has already accepted the membership of Commonwealth nations, because not Nehru has hatred policy of Hindutva. Nehru has a philosophy of love, not within India, but beyond India on global level. So he has, at that time, has accepted the membership of Commonwealth nations. On the other hand, Nehru has also accepted the secular character of India. So Britain has also the same philosophy in absence of ethnic problem. In present situation, Rishi Sunak will certainly succeed, not by keeping only his investors' vision, but also keeping economic growth by lowering unemployment level, by lowering inflation rate, by raising cost of living of British or England's economy. Why? But within the Nehruvian philosophy, not within the present government Modi's philosophy, because Modi's government economic philosophy is dependent upon RSS and fundamentalist nature of economic and political vision. Within this situation, Indian economy is not doing well, but in this situation, also IMF, World Bank, Asian Development all have decreased the GDP growth rate of Indian economy because of a Hindu rate of growth, not Manmohan Singh rate of growth. Manmohan Singh regime, we have acquired the highest level of GDP, which is around 9%. But at present, we are facing the peculiar situation where unemployment rate is the highest one, inflation is the highest one, interest rate is the highest one. So in this situation, how investors will produce, for whom investor and manufacturers will produce, where consumers' confidence has already been lost. This is the situation. But in England, the Rishi Sunak has also see these things. So England is a different socio-economic political background, while Indian Hindu philosophy or RSS or Hindutva economic philosophy is different. That's why Indian economy is, or Indian GDP growth is not rising, why unemployment rate is rising, why inflation rate is rising, why there is a huge income inequality, poverty, malnutrition. In this situation, Rishi Sunak should accept the Nehruvian model of non-alignment, Nehruvian model of Panchashil, where there is a need of non-interference in other countries, there is need of peace, there is a need of non-violence in Indian philosophy. So Rishi Sunak, if he adopts the Hindu philosophy, then there is no alternative than to accept Nehruvian vision of Hindutva, where Nehruvian philosophy of Hindutva is Hinduism, not Hindutva. Hinduism is a different thing and Hindutva is a different thing. In this context, Rishi Sunak should adopt Nehruvian philosophy because he is, or he belongs from investors' background, and as an economist, and he understands the economy of the England, and people of England have full faith over him, and he will have to justify it by accepting that he is a good economic leader rather than a political leader, because there is a pressure over him that he should accept the Conservative Party's philosophy, because in this situation it is not possible to raise consumers' and voters' aspirations in the midst of global recession. That's why Rishi Sunak should accept, if he has to succeed as an economist, the philosophy of Nehruvian way of thinking. Nehruvian philosophy should suit him. Gandhian philosophy will raise him the level of expectation, the consumer's level of expectation, cost of living of England people will increase within these contexts. This is our vision. Thanks, a lot of thanks to our viewers.